Hi everyone, this is Marty. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Nepal Now, Right Now, where we share feedback from listeners and news about migration and Nepal. I want to start today with a shout out to Tanka. Tanka shared our 3 latest episodes on his LinkedIn account, including his favorite. Tanka's top choice was our chat with Raj and Sunita, who met online while working in Gulf countries. They got married in Nepal and are now living here again, at least temporarily. Although they're now pregnant, they appear destined to be a migration family, as Raj is now trying to get a work visa for South Korea. If you have a favorite episode of the show, why not let us know? Like Tanka, you can message us on LinkedIn or our other social accounts. We're at Nepal Now Pod. You can email the show at nepalnowpod@gmail.com. And you can text us by clicking on the link at the top of the description for this and all episodes. It is a US number, so that means if you're in the US and Canada, it's a free text. From Nepal, it costs 6 rupees. I know because I tried yesterday. And if you're outside of those 2 areas, normal texting charges would apply. A reminder that if you're listening on Google Podcasts, you soon will no longer be able to do that. Google is being discontinued, so you need to find a new app. Nepal Now is available on most of them, so get looking. In terms of news about migration, this week one big story is that the government of Nepal is recruiting 500 men and women to work in Israel as assistants in long-term care homes. I think these jobs in Israel were quite in demand previously, and I expect they will be now. I did see online that there is a petition going around opposing this cooperation by the government of Nepal with Israel after its attack on Gaza. But I doubt that'll make a big difference in people applying for these jobs. We'll see. By the way, there are links to these news items at the bottom of the notes to this episode. The second piece of news is not really news, but it's a really interesting article about how listening to podcasts affects your brain. And if you take a look at it, you'll see there are many different impacts that they describe. One of them is that listeners develop an attachment and trust with the podcast host, which of course I think is really cool. The second one, which is surprising perhaps, our bodies react more strongly listening to audio only than when we're listening to a so-called video podcast. And as an audio-only podcaster, I think that's great. Coming up next week, we're talking to journalist Pramod Acharya, who reports about migration. A couple of years ago, he reported about Nepali workers and others helping prepare stadiums for the World Cup in Qatar. And more recently, he's teamed up with other media to report about Nepali workers in Amazon warehouses in Saudi Arabia. And that award-winning reporting actually led to Amazon changing some of the rules on how it treats workers. So I'm really interested to talk to Pramod about his work and success to date. That's all for this week. I will talk to you again next week.